Hit like and subscribe if you want more breaking space mysteries, because what I am about to tell you will change how you look at the night sky forever. Something is moving through our solar system right now that refuses to fit inside the rules of physics we thought were absolute. Astronomers call it 3 theta, but what telescopes are watching has left experts whispering in the dark. This is not a comet. This is not an asteroid. This is an object that keeps reinventing itself every single hour, and nobody can agree on how or why. It began with a routine alert. Automated survey telescopes scanning the southern sky flagged an object on the edge of detectability. At first, it looked like any small interstellar visitor, a faint point of light on a cold trajectory. Then, the data stopped making sense. Within days, the object started changing shape. Not the slow, ragged breakup we see when solar heat tears a comet apart. Not the dusty shedding of a typical space rock. The shapeshifts were clean, precise, deliberate. 1 hour the object was elongated like a needle. The next it folded into a segmented ring. Later it blossomed into layered sheets that rotated in mathematical synchrony. It kept doing this, hour after hour, as if following an algorithm nobody had ever seen before. Observers around the world switched from casual curiosity to frantic attention. Instruments designed to study supernovae and faint galaxies were retasked to track this enigma. Images streamed in from optical telescopes, infrared arrays, and radio dishes. The consensus among experienced observers was simple and terrifying. The object was not passively changing. It was actively reconfiguring itself. The geometry was not random. Spirals, lattices, and nested polygons appeared and then vanished with the precision of a machine executing a program. Energy readings made the situation worse. When the object oriented itself toward the sun, it did not simply brighten. It absorbed sunlight and redistributed energy in pulses our detectors could measure. The pulses were not thermal noise. They were structured bursts containing harmonic relationships that suggested control. Instruments registering magnetic fluctuations recorded patterns that repeated with uncanny regularity. The object sometimes expanded and contracted like a heartbeat. The names astronomers used in private conversations grew quiet and loaded. Alive, engineered, sentient. The words were said like prayers and threats at once. Think about the implications. An interstellar object that reshapes itself to predetermined geometries would be the perfect tool for gathering information across many wavelengths. Thin, elongated forms could act as broad sweep sensors. Compact polyhedra could concentrate energy for focused sampling. Rhythmic pulses might probe planetary magnetic fields or seek out artificial emissions. If someone or something sent this through interstellar space, they gave it an adaptability far beyond any technology humanity has built. And the more troubling idea is also simple. What if the object is not here to pass by? What if it is here to learn? Reports surfaced claiming this was not the first time. Archaeological records and ancient star charts include accounts of wandering lights that changed form nightly. Stories from Mesopotamia describe serpentine lights that coiled and uncoiled above the horizon. East Asian astronomical annals mention lantern-like stars whose faces shifted like masks. Mesoamerican codices contain illustrations of celestial bodies that alternately stretched and condensed. Modern scholars have dismissed these for centuries as metaphor. But now those same descriptions read like eyewitness records of the exact behavior we are watching unfold. If these accounts are accurate, then whatever is visiting is on a cycle that predates our telescopes and our science. The political and scientific response has been nothing short of extraordinary. international space agencies formed an unprecedented coalition. Observatories that normally operate in isolation now share raw data in real time. Military tracking networks have been repurposed for continuous monitoring. Emergency committees that once only met for near-Earth object threats are now meeting nightly to model scenarios that, until last month, lived only in science fiction. Leaked fragments of contingency plans have stoked panic online and given rise to countless theories ranging from benign surveillance probes to prelude to invasion. None of this helps the people watching the sky for answers. Publicly, officials call it an object of scientific interest. Privately, officials refuse to rule anything out. That secrecy has created a vacuum filled by speculation and fear. Social feeds overflow with screenshots from amateur astronomers. Some post photographs of the object forming lattice structures. Others claim to have recorded the exact sequence of its transformations. Conspiracy communities insist governments already know the full truth and are keeping it from the public to preserve order. Religious leaders see omens and believers scour scriptures, searching for passages that might describe this visitor. Ancient prophecy and modern science are suddenly overlapping in ways that make scholars and clerics uncomfortable. What would a shape-shifting interstellar visitor mean for Earth? The immediate concerns are practical. An object that can alter its mass distribution on the fly could perturb small bodies in the asteroid belt or nudge trajectories in subtle ways. If it manipulates magnetic fields when exposed to intense solar radiation, then spacecraft electronic satellites and even ground-based power grids could experience disturbances unprecedented in recorded history. The aurora could spill into latitudes that have never seen it. Communications might flicker, and satellite navigation could degrade in unpredictable windows of time. These are not apocalypse scenarios, but they are disruptive and costly on a planetary scale. The more profound consequences are existential. If this visitor is engineered, then it implies a builder with knowledge of physics and materials far beyond our own. If it is alive, then evolution can produce complexity in environments we never imagined. Either possibility forces us to rewrite parts of our story. For centuries, humans have asked whether we are alone. This is the first time the question has arrived with both empirical data and a deep and obvious ambiguity. The visitor broadcasts no conventional radio messages, no hello in prime numbers, no simple sequences to prove intent. Instead, there are electromagnetic modulations tied to its shape changes, and the hypothesis gaining traction among some researchers is simple and unnerving. The object communicates through form. Each geometric configuration could be a line of a language whose grammar is visible, not audible. If these transformations are a message, what are they saying? That is the puzzle consuming astrophysicists, mathematicians, and cryptographers. Some posit the geometry is a data compression protocol optimized for optical telescopes. Others think each structure corresponds to a specific environmental scan. Still others worry these patterns are status flags sent back to a remote host. Imagine the visiting object as an advanced sensor platform, streaming telemetry across interstellar distances by encoding data into shapes and controlled energy emissions. If so, then every hour it changes shape, it might be reporting its findings somewhere beyond our comprehension. A division has also emerged inside the scientific community. One camp insists on patient observation, more instruments, better models, and peer-reviewed analyses. The other camp warns that observation alone might be dangerous. If the visitor responds to our monitoring in ways we do not anticipate, then passive study could provoke active countermeasures. The debate echoes Cold War dilemmas. but with stakes that feel cosmic instead of terrestrial. For now, the coalition has opted for surveillance and study while maintaining contingency options. That decision satisfies no one completely. Amid the technical debates, a cultural storm is building. Faith communities are revisiting old texts and finding new interpretations. Some scholars argue the historical records align with periodic visitations by transients that catalyzed sudden leaps in technology or collapse in civilization. Could these be the same agents of change described across disparate cultures? If so, then humanity is not only being observed, it is being evaluated against patterns that recur over millennia. As the object draws closer to the inner solar system, its transformations accelerate. Early monitoring recorded changes every 72 minutes. Now those intervals are shrinking. Observatories have documented sequences condensing into intervals of 45 minutes, then 30 minutes, and counting. Mathematical models fitted to these observations show an exponential trend. If that trend continues, the visitor will transition from discrete hourly morphs into continuous structural evolution within months. What does continuous reshaping mean for an object already absorbing and re-emitting solar energy with surgical precision? We do not know. Speculation about purpose ranges from the scientific to the terrifying. Maybe this is an autonomous research instrument, cataloging planetary systems. Maybe it is an archival scout collecting signatures of life and technology. Maybe it is a probe tasked with environmental engineering, designed to test and modify conditions on small bodies to make them more suitable for later missions. Or maybe it is a sentinel that catalogs civilizations and moves on once a certain threshold is met. The worst-case scenarios imagine an entity that evaluates and acts when conditions reach some unfavorable metric. All are hypotheses grounded in incomplete data. What we do have are patterns. The transformations are structured, the energy pulses are modulated, and the intervals are accelerating. Ancient records hint at repeat visits, and modern instruments confirm behavior that cannot be shoehorned into known physics. Governments are watching. Observatories are watching. The world is watching. And the object is watching back, or at least recording and reporting in the only way it knows how. There is no consensus on whether this is the beginning of an epoch or the middle of a cycle that has visited our world before. There is no comfortable assurance that observation will yield safety. There is only the fact that something impossible has entered our solar system, and it continues to evolve before our instruments and our eyes. Over the next weeks and months, the sky will change in ways no one can predict. The one thing experts across every discipline agree on is this: we will learn more. How much we can influence what comes next is the question that will define this era. 3. I Theta is out there, now reshaping itself again, preparing for a phase we cannot foresee. The choice before humanity is clear and frightening. Do we try to decode the message and engage, or do we observe and prepare? Whatever path we take, this visitation will be written into history. Stay with us for continuous updates because, in the coming months, we will either understand what it is building toward, or we will witness a transformation that redefines our place in the cosmos forever.